We have two very settled sides for a massive head-to-head in Paris. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. France versus Scotland, Sunday 26th of February at the Stade de France in Paris. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. GMT. The last six between these two, Scotland 17, France 36. 2021, France 23, Scotland 27. 2020, Scotland 28, France 17. 2019, France 27, Scotland 10. 2018, Scotland 36, France 26. 2017, France 22, Scotland 16. So a lot of close games in there. Last year, that all-conquering Grand Slam French team went to Murrayfield and really, pulled away in that one. Year before, France were winning right to death. All they had to do was kick the ball off the field. They couldn't do it. Ended up losing the game. And then before that, it's kind of been the home team wins, really. So we'll have to see what happens this year. Is it going to be same as the last 2 years, away team getting on top, or will it go back to kind of normal, as it were, with home teams pulling out the wins? The odds then for this one, France are 29-10 on favourites. So the bookies obviously think that home side going to win here. Scotland are 16-5. The draw is 27-1. Now let's have a look at the two teams. So France fullback, we have Thomas Ramos, Pernod on the right wing. Midfield is Fickou and Mo Fana. Ethan Demortier continues on the left wing. The halfback pairing, as usual, is Ntamack and Dupont. Can't believe, actually, Dupont, he's 44 caps. I feel like that guy's been around forever. You'd be expecting him almost to be at 100, but you forget that he hasn't even hit 50 caps, but he's been so influential for France and such a huge player on the world stage as well. Into the forwards then, we have Cyril Bay, Marchand, and Huis as the front row. Flamand and Willemse in the second row. Jalonche, Olivon, and Aldrit the back row. So Huis the one change there in the starting team. Onto the bench then we have Barlow, Wardy, Valatea, Taufufenua, Kroos, MacLeod, Coulon, and Jalabert on the bench. In terms of Scotland then, you have Hogg, Stain, Jones, Tuipulotu, Van der Merwe, Russell, and White. So unchanged in the backs there. Into the forwards then, we have Schoeman, Turner, and Fagerson. Zander, that is, are the front row. Richie Gray and Grant Gilchrist continue in the second row. Jamie Ritchie, Hamish Watson, and Matt Fagerson are the back row. So Hamish Watson coming into the team, having proved his fitness for Edinburgh last weekend. Bench then is Fraser Brown, Jamie Batty, WP Nell, Johnny Gray, Sam Skinner, Jack Dempsey, Ali Price, and Blair Kinghorn. Right, so in terms of caps then for the two teams, backs, France have 229 to Scotland's 254, so pretty even there. Forwards, France 195 to Scotland's 358, so Scotland definitely have an edge in terms of experience there. The starting 15s then, 424 for France, 612 for Scotland. The bench, 122 caps to come on for France, 339 for Scotland. So Scotland have the experience there to come on if the game is tight and they need, someone to come on, maybe guide them to a win. Totals then, 546 for France, 951 for Scotland. So Scotland, I think the second most experienced team in this year's Six Nations, really. You've got Wales up there, over 1,000 caps, and then Scotland next, and probably Ireland, I think, around there as well. In terms of then, how the two teams are looking. So France, obviously, they want to bounce back from that first loss in over a year against Ireland. Won't want to lose two on the bounce. Won't want to lose in Paris in the run-up to their home World Cup either. I said Huis is in for Antonio. Antonio got banned for 3 weeks for that tackle against Herring that he got a yellow card for, but got cited for afterwards, and then got the 3 week ban there. So they were saying that we won't see him until the end of the Six Nations, which I guess it's right, but it kind of feels like there should be top 14 games maybe next week that would be included in that. So maybe he's going to be back for the final round, but I'm not sure. In terms of how they're going then, the lineup has looked a little bit creaky in the first two rounds, especially against Italy, where it was only 78%. And they're up against a really good line-out in Scotland. Scotland have only lost one line-out on their own throw out of 30 line-outs. So I would expect Scotland to maybe attack that French line-out when they get the chance. And we've seen that Scotland have kicked the ball a lot as well. So we're probably going to see more lineouts in this game than maybe previous French games in rounds 1 and 2. France have the most offloads in the first two rounds, so in total, 23 there. But like I talked about it in the stats as well, a lot of their offloads, especially against Ireland, were basically just moving the point of contact. It wasn't really like offloading to someone to go through a gap, or like a Finn Russell type offload where he's putting out the back of the hand for somebody to score a try. So, there are different tiers of offloads, and I think a lot of French ones were just shift the ball away from the point of contact rather than put somebody through a hole or over the try line. The scrum, though, has gone really well for them. It's been 100%, but that comes with a caveat. They've only had 3 scrums on their own feed so far. So it's a small sample size on that one. But generally, before the tournament, people expected France to have a very strong scrum. Scotland, on the other hand, have struggled against England and Wales. They were 71% in the scrum against England. That dropped to 40% against Wales. So if there are a lot of scrums in the game, expect France to really try and target them and get at them. In terms of then Scotland, then obviously Grand Slam dream is still alive. If they win this one, that round 4 game against Ireland and Murrayfield will easily, I think, be their biggest game since 5 nations became 6 nations. They're going to be going for their first Grand Slam in the 6 Nations era if that happens then, and potentially Ireland too. So that then becomes an absolutely massive game between those two. Interestingly, Scotland have gone for a 6-2 split on the bench. So Harris drops from the bench as number 23, so he's out of the squad completely. Hamish Watson comes into the starting lineup after being out for the first 2 rounds. He's kind of coming back from an injury. He did play for Edinburgh, though, a couple of times, I think, to prove his fitness. Crosby drops out of the matchday squad completely after starting against Wales. Ali Price comes onto the bench as well as the replacement scrum half. Stuart Hogg has recovered from a head knock that he got against Wales. He's been past fit to play. And Scotland have had the most clean breaks in round 2, which was 10 against Wales. And they've also had the most overall in the tournament so far, which is 16. You've seen, like, from the play, a lot of those clean breaks are actually leading to tries, like the likes of Van der Merwe's try against England, and then also the break to set up Van der Merwe's second try as well there. And then the same against Wales as well. You know, they're not just breaks where they're making ground. They're actually very dangerous, and France will have to have a decent scramble defence against them, I feel, if they're to stop them from turning those breaks into scores. Finn Russell has kicked the most meters in the Six Nations so far. He, like, the only person over 1,043 meters. Second is actually Dupont at 698, and third is Ramos 549. So, you know, when these guys kick the ball, it goes a long way, and you're probably going to see a lot of kicks down the middle of the pitch rather than kind of kicking out a lot. Unless the 50-22 is on, you're probably going to see them try to keep the ball in play and try to kick where the space is to, move kind of the backfield defenders around to try and create an opportunity for maybe a 50-22 or for an up and under where they can have a decent chase there and potentially target someone there. So they're going to I think both teams are going to do the same thing, try and move the opposition back three around and kind of pull them out of position to create opportunities for themselves. This is a mouth-watering clash between these two. Like, you've got France before that Ireland game, looked unstoppable for more than a year. Scotland looked to be in amazing form, and the big thing for me was that it's not just a one-off. It wasn't like last year or the year before where they come out with a big win against England and then they fall over the second game. They've backed it up. Now they have a chance to go like 3 in a row, which would be like probably I think would be a first for them in the Six Nations to win the first 3 games. So if they can do that, as I said, this Grand Slam is still on. That game against Ireland is huge. But on the flip side of that, if France win, then France come back into the reckoning for the tournament as well. Because then, obviously, Scotland will have lost one. France will have only lost one as well. If then Scotland go on to beat Ireland, you're coming down to probably a final day or final round, with all 3 of those teams in the hunt for the trophy. And, it's going to be a really exciting end to the tournament then if that happens as well. So, it's not just Scotland going for the Grand Slam here. France definitely have something to play for as well.